Hi, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the third talk in our Asset Expert series, our Shaws Talks. My name is Dana Newman. I am the enrollment manager here at Shaws Preschool. We're very pleased. We've got 46 participants joining us today, so thank you very much to everyone who's gone through this. Many of you have joined us for all three talks, so thank you for that. We hope that we've got a lot of information to you and that you find that useful. I have a bit of a history with Shaws myself. I sent two of my own children through Shaws. They absolutely loved it. As a parent, I felt Shaws was much more than just a preschool. I knew that it was the other place outside of our home that my children felt safe, they felt loved, they felt comfortable, they could explore and be themselves and love learning. And I think their foundation really started at Shaws. I had experience at two different Shaws campuses, just based on availability at the time my children went through. So speaking as a parent with some experience, I can tell you that I had the same great experience at Shaws at both campuses. A huge part of that reason is our guest today, Ms. Kit K-Mock. It's a wonderful pleasure to introduce her to you. Kit is our group principal of Shaws Preschool. She's an absolute dynamo. She is the person that ensures consistency amongst all the schools. And she's going to be speaking today about our topic, how will Shaws keep my child safe at school? Kit has been with Shaws for 15 years, moving into early childhood from the corporate world. Like all of our education management team at Shaws, she has experience and qualifications, not only in management, but also in early childhood. Kit holds a bachelor's degree in accountancy, postgraduate diploma in marketing, and a specialist diploma in preschool teaching and leadership. Kit is taught in the classrooms of all levels from 18 months to 6 years old. She was also the principal of the Brattle campus for many years before taking her current role as group principal for the last 4 years. While Kit has been part of the Shaws team for over 15 years now, she was already part of the Shaws community way before as a Shaws parent herself. Her now 22-year-old son is a Shaws alumni. So even today, she still puts on her hat as a Shaws parent when she runs operations of the Shaws preschools together along with the Shaws principals and teachers. Kit will share a little with us about the measures that have been put in place in preparation for phase 1 safe reopening. And of course, we're happy to celebrate phase 2 opening tomorrow. And then we will open up the floor to some questions. So if at any time during the talk you have some questions, if you'd like to go ahead and send those in via the chat function, we'll make sure to go ahead and answer them at the end. We want to get through as many questions as possible, time permitting. So if we don't get to your question in today's session, we'll message you privately. So thank you. And with that, I'd like to introduce you to Kit.
Hi everyone, I'm Kit. Thank you for being with us. Today's topic is a question that many parents have asked when the government announced that preschools will reopen from the 2nd of June. As a parent myself, I completely understand the concerns and fears that parents may have. In the year 2000, when my son was in the pre-nursery class at Shaws Preschool, all the schools in Singapore were closed due to HFMD epidemic, as there were growing fatalities related to the HFMD virus. Don't worry, HFMD then was different from today. And 3 years later, in 2003, when my son was in K1, all schools were again closed due to the SARS outbreak. Yet, when the school doors were to reopen, I was not celebrating. Instead, I had a hard time deciding whether to send my child back to school or to look for alternate childcare arrangements. Like many parents, I asked the question, how would the school keep my child safe if I were to send my son back? Will he catch the virus and fall sick? Perhaps he should stay away until the situation is more settled and the cases of transmission are reduced. But my son's routine had completely turned upside down. His social interaction with his friends and teachers were affected. There was uncertainty for him as he was going to work with mommy and spending the day in my office instead of being in school. His friends were my colleagues. So I really had a huge debate with myself. I finally decided to share my concerns with the school. I needed for the school to know my worries. I wanted to send my son back, but I was scared. I remember talking to Lucy, the founder of Shaws Preschool, and this is what she said to me. Kid, the school has definitely in place additional safety measures for the school to reopen. I can't guarantee you that your son will not catch a bug, as all children fall sick from time to time. But I can assure you that the school would provide him with a safe environment, physically and emotionally. And he will still enjoy learning and have fun in school. And he will slowly learn to pick up skills to help him cope with changes and uncertainty. I took a leap of faith, trusted the school, and sent my son back, not once, but in both instances. And I have no regrets. My son was happy to be back in school, and he didn't get sick. And both for him and I, we settled back into our routines. But of course, every health crisis has its own unique challenges. Today, I work at Shaws Preschool, and I am in charge of ensuring that all our schools are safe for our children's return and for new children joining us. The tables are turned. Parents are coming to me with their questions, worries, and concerns. So I feel it's a great opportunity to share with parents the measures taken by Shaws to keep our children safe in phase 1 and the implications of the phase 2 announcement.
Thank you very much, Kit. To think that you went through not one, but 2 public health crises in just a period of a few years, that really helps put things in perspective for me a bit, because COVID is the first that I faced. But to know that you've got that experience is really great. Thank you.
Well, I didn't have any choice, did I? The precautionary measures required in phase 1 certainly meant that there will be some noticeable changes for the children when they return to schools. One of the biggest for the children would be the wearing of masks. The other is safe distancing. These changes are certainly some of the things I believe our parents would be concerned to. And so as I work with the team to prepare for our schools to welcome children back, I often go back to the following questions because I come not from the school's point of view only, but as a parent. How do I know it is safe for my child to go back to school? What would the school do to keep my child safe? I'm not comfortable for my child to be putting on the mask for extended periods of time. Will he fall sick if he refuses to put on the mask? How will the school carry out safe distancing? I want my child to be back in school, but I also feel guilty. I want him to enjoy school, but what if he catches the bug? Am I making the right decision? Would it be better for him to stay at home? But I may not be doing the right thing either because he will not be meaningfully engaged and he is not with his friends, and it is very, very important to build social skills. On top of that, I do need to get back to work. So parents, if you are asking these questions, please be assured you are not alone. There is guilt, worry, and anxiety. All these feelings are normal. This is what being a parent is about. So during circuit breaker, we couldn't wait for our children to get back to school. Now that school has reopened, suddenly going back to school has brought new worries, concerns, and for some parents, going back to school may not seem so straightforward anymore.
It's true. It is very different times. And I have many parents asking me those same questions. They're parents that were previously attending school and they're not too sure about whether to return back right away after the circuit breaker. There are parents of children that have never been to school, so they were already nervous about sending their little one to school, and for the first time, and then now they're uncertain about how to do so now. So we hear also a lot from parents, I don't know what questions I'm supposed to ask. they know there's some information they want, they're just not sure how to formulate their questions. So for you parents, we thought it would be a good idea to provide as much information as we could to you, hence the Shaws topic today that Kit is doing, sharing with us. So Kit, how will Shaws keep our children safe in school?
Thanks, Dana. I would like to frame my discussion by sharing 7 measures adopted by Shaws. And underlying these measures are 2 parameters. 1, physical safety for the children. 2, emotional safety for the children, because school still has to be fun. If learning is fun, children will enjoy coming to school. And in spite of the new norms, they will gradually learn to adapt to the changes and build new skills. I would like to start off by talking about the measures that provide for physical safety. The first thing that we did was, of course, thorough cleaning and disinfecting in all the 5 schools. Before schools reopened, we engaged the services of SUTL to professionally coat all our indoor surfaces with high-performance coatings with antimicrobial actives, which will kill viruses and bacteria. This coating will last for 6 months and helps our schools stay safer, cleaner, and fresher for an extended period of time. You may like to know it's used in places like the Changi Airport, ICA, and National University of Singapore. It has also been tested to be safe for children. We used a similar product during the H1N1 outbreak in 2009, and we were satisfied with the protection that the coating had offered. In addition to the coating application, we also ensure high levels of environmental hygiene, which include daily cleaning and disinfecting, proper refuse management, and ensuring that our toilet facilities are frequently cleaned during the day. Our measures are in line with ACDA's regulations, and we follow the NEA guidelines on disinfecting too, which is why our schools sometimes smells like the hospitals. Having the schools to be thoroughly cleaned and disinfected is just the first step. We have to keep viruses at bay, so we need to have COVID-safe access into the schools. We only allow children, staff, and authorized visitors who are well to enter the school premises. Health screening and temperature checks are done for all individuals before entering the schools. We do not allow anyone on quarantine order, leave of absence, or on stay-home notice to enter the school. We require for our parents, staff, and visitors to be responsible in making travel declarations and to inform the school of any household member who is on quarantine order or SHN. Parents, I'm afraid that the current ACDA's guidelines of not permitting parents to be in school will stay on in phase 2 as well. And I like to share that all our staff, whether it's the management team or our admin team, and including our sports coaches, we have all done the compulsory COVID swab test in May before school resumed. And this brings me to the next measure. How do we keep our children safe once they are in school? Well, once they are in, we need to provide safe distancing. We do so by keeping them in their own classrooms, and for classes with more than 10 children, we divide them into 2 bubble groups, the red bubble and the blue bubble. Our children will wear color wristbands as a visual reminder of the bubble group they belong to, and they will stay in their bubble groups until this guideline is relaxed, and this guideline will stay on in phase 2. We have also created for more space in the classrooms by changing the physical layout and rearranging the furniture and the learning corners. The teachers use markers to demarcate the classrooms into 2 bubble spaces, and we have color flags to identify the physical space used by their bubble group for the day. In addition, our teachers teach in small groups rather than in large groups. Most of Shaws learning activities are already conducted in small groups, so there is minimal disruption except for circle time. We will also conduct our no-nap activities in the children's classroom, and there is no mixing of children between classes in most instances. Children enjoy outdoor, so we will definitely continue to provide children with as much time as possible in the garden and in the playground. To provide safe distancing, outdoor play will be scheduled at staggered times for different classes, including outdoor play at arrival and at the end of the day.
Thank you, Kit. I know for many parents, it was such a relief that the children will resume outdoor play immediately and get time in the fresh air. So it's great that all the Shaws campuses have our outdoor garden and the play equipment for the kids to explore and stretch themselves, that we incorporate that into our curriculum anyway. And also that they are able to do the messy play outside, because then they can do it at school and not do it at home and make a mess.
Yes, I was personally so glad that outdoor activities were allowed in our private playgrounds in phase 1. And that was a huge bonus for the children coming back to school. And this brings me to the next 4 safety measures that Shaws have and will continue to put in place to provide for the emotional safety of our children. And they are just as important as the 3 physical safety measures that we talked about earlier. We need for our children to feel safe and secure when they are back in school. We have to remember that they have been away for 2 months during the circuit breaker. They have been with mom and dad at home. As Leanne have shared in the first talk about building resilience, children have had to cope with various things like change of routine, loss of social interaction, loss of attention from adults because mom and dad had to work from home. And for some children, perhaps they may not want to come back as they don't want any more changes moving forward. So it is important that the school has to help children feel safe and secure when they return. So 2 weeks prior to school reopening, we discussed with the children about COVID-safe behavior, including mask wearing during our home-based learning program. Our teachers started centering their virtual lessons around the proper way of putting on masks, how to safe distance, and proper hand washing techniques. We read stories together. We tried putting on masks together during our Zoom interactive sessions in the morning. And some of the children even had their teddy bears to put on masks. So wearing masks became our new norm even before school started. And this new norm is even more evident today after 2 weeks. We see more children coming to school confidently with their masks, or some have used face shields as alternative, which is permitted. And some children even decorated their face shields. So masks seem to have become a part of the Shaws uniform. We can't leave home without them. As what Leanne had shared in her talk, our children are quickly learning to adapt to changes. By providing them with a positive environment to discuss, share, and acknowledge their worries, we have actually helped them overcome them before they even return to school. And our teachers were prepared to welcome each child back, and they ensured that each child felt comfortable. Some children settled in faster than others, and again, that's normal. And our teachers will allow for this and will provide additional support for children who need it. We have more than 90% of our children coming back to school, and our teachers will continue to reinforce COVID-safe behavior with them. Children will be children, and our teachers will give gentle reminders about safe distancing, good hygiene practices, and proper mask wearing. And of course, we remind children that the mask should cover the nose and not the mouth. We see that sometimes in school. Once the kids are back, we have got to help children reestablish their routines. Routines are important to children, and we are careful not to rock the routines that they were familiar with prior to the circuit breaker. But when school started, there were some minor adjustments, and they were absolutely necessary. And these changes mainly stemmed from the fact that we had to put our children in bubble groups, like staggered times for lunch and outdoor. No nap activities can no longer be conducted with their friends from other classes. Instead, they are conducted in their own classrooms by their own teachers. But they still get to enjoy most of their known activities as they were before the circuit breaker, including their favorite little chefs and the art club. We are happy to observe that over the last 2 weeks that these changes appear to have minimal disruption and impact to the children's routine. They seem to enjoy the wristband and the bubble flags that identify their bubble groups, and they still enjoy most of the learning activities with their friends. So coming back to school seems to be easy, as if circuit breaker had not happened. Isn't that wonderful? And this brings me to the next point. An unhurried, well-paced learning adventure that is fun. Given that the children had spent 8 weeks away from school, we really wanted to mitigate the effects of home-based learning as well. As what Emilia had shared in our second talk on resettling children back in school, we need to provide children with an unhurried, well-paced learning adventure when the children return. It should still focus on learning through play, and learning must be fun. So we rehashed our academic calendar to provide for 6 weeks of revision and an enrichment program that focused on STEAM activities, which our children really love. So children don't feel rushed and they have time to adjust back to school. School events and celebrations will continue to be an important part of the Shaws curriculum. This week, our children had fun with Letterland Day, and they are looking forward to the STEAM fair in July. Parents can still celebrate children's birthday in schools, and they can easily join in through Zoom sessions. We will also be celebrating Father's Day this Saturday, and the dads will get to do Zumba with their kids. Isn't that fun?
It is. It's really great to see how Shaws has prepared this children for school before reopening, and how the changes in the routine and the curriculum are done in a way that the children really feel safe and secure now that they're back in school. And the school's still fun for them. I love that our dads are going to have fun doing Zumba, which is hilarious, with the children this Saturday.
Yes, I definitely look forward to that. And why Zumba for dads? Some of you may ask. Well, we did a Zumba party with moms several years back when we celebrated Mother's Day. And the moms told us after the event that their hubbies would like to do Zumba too. So why not? So moms, we heard you. We think it's a great idea. And this brings me to the next point that I like to share: good communication, which is a key factor in how we work with parents at Shaws to keep your child safe in school. We are lucky to have open communication with our parents. This helps us understand each child and each family situation and how we can provide individualized support for each child. Just as I've shared earlier, when I was worried, I called Lucy. I spoke to her. And in that process, the answers to my questions gradually became more evident. Parents, if you have got any concerns or worries about sending your child to school, please come and talk to us, any one of us. We also believe in providing parents with information as soon as we can. And this is important because timely information will help parents make decisions based on their preferences and their family situation. I would like to share about our recent incident at our Lorong Chuan campus. Some of you may have already known about this from social media. During the circuit breaker, one of our staff was tested positive during the mandatory swab test for all preschool staff in Singapore prior to school reopening. So the staff had to do more tests, and all the subsequent tests, however, turned up negative, and she was really well. But the results were obviously released over a period of a few days. We did not keep this information from our parents. We communicated this information to the parents at the Lorong Chuan campus once it became official. And we also shared this information with all the other 4 Shaws campuses as well. And when the schools reopened on 2nd June, we were so happy to see our children coming back, not in just some campuses, but all the 5 campuses. So communication is really important to us at Shaws. And parents believe that too.
Absolutely. Thanks so much, Kit. It's very true. I do remember the same experience. And we rely on that as parents, don't we? It's a partnership. So we need to know that we can share with the teachers what's going on at home to better help them understand our children during the day, and that the teachers are honest and share milestones and things good and bad with us during the day when we pick our children up. So it's much appreciated. Well, I think you've certainly addressed the question today, which was how will Shaws keep our children safe in school? And we know that that's achieved through quite a few things. It's the thorough cleaning and disinfection in all the 5 schools, the COVID safe access, safe distancing measures for children, teaching COVID safe behavior, having a consistent routine with minimal changes, and having an unhurried, well-paced learning adventure that's fun for them. And of course, all of that is rounded off with good communication. So thank you very much for that, Kit. We've got quite a few questions, so we'll go ahead and try to get through some of them. So we'll see what we have here now. Thank you for those of you that wrote in. Thank you for sharing your personal experience. I hear you, especially about feeling guilty. I feel guilty for not sending my children to school and giving them the experience they should be enjoying. But I also feel guilty for sending them. How did you overcome this as a parent, and has your perspective changed now that you are running the school?
A very interesting question. Yes, it was no easy decision. And if I have to make the decision again today, I will certainly do the same. I will still send my son back to Shaws, because what I'm doing now with the Shaws team are the things that I would want for my son if he were to return to school today after the circuit breaker. And I want him to be able to enjoy school, but I am assured that he is in a safe environment. And parents, there may be some days you feel good about your decision and some days when you may have doubts. It's okay, that's normal. Just think about the moments when your children were smiling and saying to you how happy they are to be back in school, or the happy faces that you see when you pick them up at school at the end of the day. Gradually, over time, you'll be more assured and confident about your decision. But should you feel anxious about your decision, please come and talk to us. Every family is unique. My circumstances might be very different from yours. You can talk to any of us, myself, the principals, the teachers, Emilia, Leanne, Dana. We are all available to our parents. So talk to any of us, whoever that you are comfortable with.
Okay. You talked about health screening and temperature checks. What are you looking for?
Well, as mentioned earlier, health checks and temperature screenings are conducted on all our children, staff, and visitors prior to entering the school premises. We look out for general signs of fever, and that will be anything that is above 37.5 degrees. And for any flu-like symptoms, which include cough, runny nose, sore throat, shortness of breath. We also have to explicitly ask all children, staff, and visitors the following questions during the health checks. Are you having a fever? Do you have a cough? Do you have sore throat? Do you have a runny nose? Do you have shortness of breath? Do you have any lost sense of smell? Are you feeling unwell in any way? Even the question, are there any household members who are unwell and have fever or flu-like symptoms? So what is important for parents as well is to check your own child using the checklist that I've just shared the evening before they sleep, as well as in the morning before you send them to school. So if your child is displaying any of these symptoms, it's safer for your child to be kept at home. And of course, you have got to seek medical attention. And your child can come back to school once his medical leave has expired and he does not exhibit any more of those symptoms coming back. Yeah.
Great, thank you. I have a question on safe distancing. Do bubble groups really work with young children?
Well, we have to remember that safe distancing is really not a normal social behavior. So coming back to school, we do need to teach children new behavior and routines so that they can learn to keep themselves safe. And safe distancing measures have to be age and developmentally appropriate when we work with young children. So what we do is that the safe distancing measures were done such that they understand what they are doing and why, and making it visual for the children so that it is easy for them to follow and they feel safe and secure. It is really no point having, complicating rules which are hard for the children to follow. Hence, the use of colored wristbands and flags as they are visual and fun, and staggered timings for routines like staggered lunch and staggered outdoor play. And also the constant reminders, like during lunch, the children will remove their masks and they are allowed to sit at a long table with just 3 children so that there is safe distancing in between them. But in their moment of excitement, they might just get a little too close to their friends, or after lunch, they might forget to put on their mask, or they will continue to have their mask, covering and protecting their chins instead of covering their nose. So things like that. So we will have to remind the children. And I guess a sense of humor always helps. It helps the teachers, it helps the children as well. So if you were to ask, to just simply answer the question, does it work? Yes, it works, but it's always work in progress.
Thank you, Kit. Okay, now that you have welcomed many children back, how would you say they are adjusting? Did the children have any issues, emotionally or challenging behavior?
Well, we are happy that so far the children seemed happy and they have adapted well to wearing masks, change in routines and bubble groups, and even with their safe distancing. They are enjoying their learning activities, having fun with the STEAM enrichment program, and enjoying the outdoors. Very importantly, they are very glad to be with their friends, doing silly things in the playground with their friends, sitting on the swings, because they really have not done that for a long time. But we will also continue to observe the children very, very carefully and look out for any signs, just in case we might have missed out something, during the last couple of weeks. And we will communicate and work closely with parents. But I would say so far, so good, and all is well.
Okay, great, thank you. Okay, so last question for today. Thank you, everyone. We will go ahead and respond privately to those of you we weren't able to fit in this session, but thank you. Okay. Does Shaws intend to carry on for your sports program after phase 1?
Well, sports is a very important part of the Shaws curriculum, as it offers so many wonderful benefits to children's development, including building confidence, creativity, problem solving, communication, perseverance, to just name a few. But maybe this could be another talk on another day, Dana. We want our children to build healthy bodies, so doing sports outdoor is a great way to provide exercise, have the children to get sunlight, which is an important source of vitamin D, and also to get fresh air. So in phase 1, we have already started with doing light physical activities with children during their outdoor playtime, like playing on the slides, on the swings, cycling, strengthening their balancing and agility skills that they have learned from the coaches during the home-based learning program. So moving forward in phase 2, and from July, when our coaches normally would resume the sports program, Shaws will definitely restart the twice weekly sports program. And what we will do is that we will have multi-sports skill stations so that we can focus more on building the skills that they have learned in term 2. And so this will actually help the children to focus more on strengthening activities rather than cardio activities. In case some parents might be concerned, about strenuous physical exercises. So strengthening activities are fine, and hence we stay away from the cardio activities. Based on what the government is saying at the moment, masks or face shields should be worn as a default, but our teachers and our coaches will monitor the children very, very carefully during the sports sessions. So yes, we are really, really very glad that, from 1st of July, the sports sessions will resume at Shaws Preschools.
Oh, thank you so much. That's really reassuring. And that's been on everyone's mind, definitely. So great to hear that we have that in place. Okay, well, thank you so much, all of you, for joining us this afternoon. And we'll go ahead and be posting the webinar next week on our YouTube channel as well for you as a reference if you'd like. Kit, thank you so much for joining us today. Kit, our group principal here at Shaws, and hope all of you have a great afternoon ahead. Thank you for joining.
Thank you.